Behind the Hooks with Manny DeGrandis and Daniel Panetta.
What's up?
Yay!
What a day!
What a life! I can't believe we're back.
Yeah, we're back. What'd you think? We were gonna get canceled?
Well, that potential lawsuit was interesting.
Was that after episode 1 or 2?
The intro. I couldn't believe it. It's like, Jesus. Like, the phone rings. Hi, I'm Mr. Apple Music.
I'm Mr. Apple Music. How you doing, man?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
You know? Yeah. We're doing. You know, missing. I'm missing big concerts.
Big concerts meaning large crowds, or big concerts meaning large pay?
Both. But like, I haven't really, like, in the past bunch of years, I've really scaled back my ACC concerts and whatnot. Like, I haven't gone because like $300 to sit in the nosebleeds and I'm watching a big screen.
So you miss going to large concerts?
So I'm at this point where, like, I am willing to pay $300, sit in the way back in the blues and watch Eric Clapton or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because I was never really a big fan of the big stadium shows, right? You know, I was always more impartial to, like, the Massey Hall shows or like the nice theater gigs and stuff like that. Maybe because I'm such a dork. But there's something to be said about being deprived of that opportunity altogether, where it's like, I could really go for a stadium show right now.
Yeah.
It's sad, man. I don't know what it is. I never was a huge fan of it. I get really big, like, social anxiety because of the Asperger's and everything, but there's something to be said about the experience of going to see, like, Bruce Springsteen at like I don't know, what is it called? Is it Scotia Center now? What, I don't even know what the hell they call it.
It's Scotia, right?
Is it Scotia? Or they turn it back to the Sky? I don't even know. ACC?
The Sky Dome.
What the hell is happening in Toronto, Manny?
I don't know. They're tearing it down. Yeah. Like, I haven't been, like, I would go to, I still, like, to this, I think the last big concert actually was Willie Nelson Tedeschi Trucks at, you know, I like the amphitheater.
Yeah.
So you go do the lawn things for, you know, I'm definitely missing that. I'm not missing the $18 beers. Like,
no, definitely not. Yeah, there's something really nostalgic about the amphitheater. I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire in Chicago play the same night.
Yeah.
They were on that tour together.
Two
and
summers ago, 3 summers maybe.
Oh my God. Probably the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Best show, such a polished, but still fresh. And these guys are in their 70s. I know. And they're still killing it. Reggie on the bass makes me so happy because he's still like this electric shock of just an animal. And it's so polished because they've been playing for so long and playing the same tunes for so long that they can just do whatever. The choreography's still dope.
Yeah.
The energy is still high, and Chicago was great too. I've always been a pretty decent Chicago fan. Having them play together, though, is I think a better experience for me. It's arguably a better experience because Chicago, I found when I saw them independently, you know, I don't know as many of their songs as I do Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is very much more a vocal-based group, and that's probably why I'm more partial to that. Chicago's still dope.
Yeah, they're still great. I mean, you know, they went through. Yeah, they changed a lot, and
they're
David Foster
Peter
years
era.
and Peter Cetera and everything.
Cetera era, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Philip Bailey on a microphone is the most dangerous thing I probably will ever see in my life. Yeah. And he's in his 70s and has better breath control than I did when I was 15. So I hate him, but I love him so much. And his son's in it now.
Yes, I did.
His son's doing some harmonies in there, and I think he's getting some solo work. awesome. It's great. I love that the legend continues.
There's a lot of bands with that, with their sons in there. Of course, like Ringo's son, but he played with the Who and he kind of held his own. But I know there's some band. Oh well, Willie Nelson's got his sons in some of his concerts and bands, and
Danny Harrison was doing some stuff. George Harrison's son was
yeah,
I think he still is.
Yeah, I guess I meant more like in their actual band.
Oh, like
right,
playing with their
yeah,
parents?
with their
Okay.
parents. I did. Heard a cool story of like Bob Dylan and Jacob Dylan both playing in Toronto on the same night, different venues. Yeah, and I don't even think they met up. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just stirring the pot.
I think there's something to be said about that because I also heard a story. Julio Iglesias and Enrique Iglesias up for Grammy at the same Grammy Awards.
Oh, okay.
And Enrique got it. And they didn't talk for years because of that.
Really?
I heard the story, and I want to say it's a reputable source.
Yeah,
Fact check me if you want to. If you know Enrique, call him up. I'm actually I have he's a friend of a friend, Enrique. So
Okay,
I heard this story, and I'm like, yeah, I could kind of see it because Julio was just like this. He was the dude. He was the dude.
for the longest time.
And I still love his music, but yeah, Enrique, it's different demographic, different crowd, different. Why am I playing with this coaster? It's here. It's a nervous
here.
twitch. There you go. So I don't know. The familial thing is like playing with or being on stage with or touring with a spouse. In my mind, it's the same thing of mixing business and family or money and family. I get scared.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Oh, I know that's a whole oh my god, a whole other episode. Like, are you managing your kid, or are you in a band with your kid, or are you? Yeah, So that's. Are you giving your kid a boost by throwing him on stage?
I don't know. I think inherently,
where do
it's the Kronos and Zeus mentality of my child is going to be king, and therefore I can't let that happen. Yeah. It's different with kids, I guess, but I mean, I think spousal. I had one situation where I did that, and I worked with the person I was seeing, and you lose the song, or you lose the songs, you lose you get a bad taste in your mouth when you hear them or when you perform them, and it's just like, I don't want that. Yeah. I really don't want that, and I don't want that for people, because good songs go to the wayside when that happens. I don't know. Let's get back to the happy shit.
But there wouldn't be rumors Fleetwood Mac if they didn't all
you're right,
discipline. But those are songwriters too, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. Songwriters, we're a weird bunch. We really are. I don't know if it's because I think that, I don't know, a lot of the songs that I've been writing are my first single, Don't You Worry, is this like doo-wop throwback kind of thing, acoustic kind of thing. And it was very happy and everything like that. And I needed something out right away because I was on a crunch for a tour, and I needed a single out on the touring album. And I was just like, we'll put this on here because, it's easy to produce. It's an acoustic track. Or it's got like a minimal rhythm section. And I was just like, okay, we'll put this out there. It's got some range on it. Sure, why not? I wrote it in like 15 minutes. So I was fine with that. But then I was like, okay, I really have to sit down and think. And when I did Shut the Darkness Down, I sat on it for 1.5 years. And I was actually going to give it to Ian. Our buddy and colleague Ian Leslie. I played it for him. I was at his house. We were doing a writing session, and I sat with him and I showed him the song just on acoustic, like I usually play it live. And he's like, "Man, that's too rebel country for you. I'm taking that one from you," because he was in a rebel country band at the time. And I was just like, "Yeah, man, sure. I don't know what I'm going to do with this." And then 1.5 years later, the arrangement came to me, and I heard the upright bass and I heard the muted trumpet. I'm just like, nah, I can't give this to you, dude. I can't give this to you. This is my baby now. And but the song's really dark, and it's just like, for some reason, I'm always reflective in my songwriting. I'll never write about a dark moment I'm in. I've always write about in a dark moment or a happy moment I've had.
Okay.
I'm reflective when I
Yeah,
write.
okay.
I can't do that like right in the moment.
In the moment, okay.
I don't know what it is, and that's probably why it takes me so damn long to come out with a bloody single.
Right? Like, yeah, and like I know a lot of people that like, yeah, once they're in the middle of heartbreak, you know, they're writing and the shit's coming out and just like, whoa. But
That's
this is
crazy. I love
what
that.
you're in the middle of, right?
I'm envious of that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
something is not coming to me, whether it's the words to say in the right configuration
Mm-hmm.
or a justifiable instrumentation or arrangement that's like that can complement it and is like moody enough. I have a bit of synesthesia where like I can hear the colors and match them up with the colors that the lyrics are trying to give me. But a lot of the time, if I'm writing in that moment, it just sounds like mud.
Okay.
Like I try and put too much to like try and hide something. It's like I'm overcompensating because I don't think the lyrics are good enough.
Yeah,
or I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
the melody's good enough. And let's throw a gospel choir in there
Yeah,
just
yeah,
for
yeah,
shits.
yeah.
And it's like I always overdo it. Whereas if I'm out of that mental spot and I'm able to think a little bit more clearly, you know, hindsight always being 20/20, and being able to kind of like sit down and say, okay, this is what I'm trying to say. This is the most impactful part of the song. This is where everything else kind of has to space out a little bit, and I'm able to like make my melody matter a little bit more, and then bring everything back in where, you know, the hooks are, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But man, writing in the moment, the people that can do that, I love you to death. Keep doing it. I'm envious of you, but I will never stop buying your music.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man.
So why don't we do your thing that you like to do that
On this day.
that takes us in always a crazy direction.
On this day in music history. Actually, this one's a little bit close to the heart. A lot of you that know me know that I used to be an ETA, or an Elvis tribute artist. And I did that for about 10 years. And then I retired when I was 12. And or 14, whatever. And this one is kind of cool. On this day, the day of recording, we, back in 1971, the phrase, Elvis has left the building, was said for the first time by a stagehand or a road producer. Elvis was on a tour, and at the show in Minneapolis, it was like the kickoff night of his 15-day tour. And I believe his last name was Drovin. Yeah, he penned the phrase and came out on stage and was encouraged to go on stage to say Elvis has left the building to get the fans out of there.
To get the fans to leave. Okay.
He was on a tour. He wasn't going to stick around. He had to go into the bus, and because he never left the States. So like he wasn't going to be jumping country to country, but he just went all over the country. So yeah, and that became the thing from 71 to 77, where Elvis has left the building became like the staple at the end of the show to kind of like get people out of there.
Did they do encores back then? Because I know back then, you know, they would do 2 shows in one day, right? So they have 2 sittings. Like, was the encore? I mean, obviously it was invented, but was that something part of the deal? Or
Generally, no. It's the same thing with like going to. Like if you go to a casino show, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But generally, because they have a show coming up right after, they're going to get off stage. They're going to do a cleanup of the area. They're going to go back down for sound check 2. They're going to get freshened up. They're going to come to the show, and people will be seated in there. Generally, back then, it was more so show your appreciation during the set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was an intermission. You know, there was a lot of, like intermission for those sit-down theater shows, which were mandatory because all the guys were union.
Yes. Yeah.
And they still are. It's still very much
yeah.
like that. When I do shows like that, or at least when I did shows like that, when I would travel down to Florida, I did encores. It was the same setup as it was back in the 70s with that kind of casino atmosphere. I think it just depended on what the artist wanted to do, or if they had an engagement or something like that. So it's a lot the same.
Because I mean the kids must have been going crazy, and they obviously there was a reason why they stayed and kept yelling encore or bring him back or Elvis.
Yeah.
That he had to come on and say Elvis has left the building. Were they just like, we're just not leaving because if we stay
He'll come back.
he'll come back.
Yeah.
Like I wonder like if that was kind of the.
It was. Elvis did a lot for his fans. Like he'd buy them cars and like, you know, like pay off mortgage, whatever he did, you know, like he was very much committed to them. By 71 though, There was a lot of missed opportunities for him. So there's a little bit of sour nature when it came to the music industry for him.
That part, I know.
Stemming from his management. The Colonel at that point, because he was just about to get into the casino scene. He's maybe 2 years into playing live, which he hadn't done in like almost, I think, a decade at that point, because he was putting out all those movies. Yeah. You know, and his last show was like I think the Frank Sinatra show in '61, and then he did the '68 comeback special, and then '69 he did his first live performance.
That's right. Yeah, '68 comeback special, which is hilarious.
That was revolutionary, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. When I think he was 31 or 33 at the time, I can't remember. When a dude like that comes out strapped in like head to toe leather, not including arm accessories. Yeah. And puts out a full NBC special, like not even PBS. Yeah. Because at the time, the famous thing to do was PBS. Tom Jones was doing it. Neil Sedaka, Engelbert Humperdinck, all those guys that were doing that kind of music were doing PBS specials, and that was just the thing to do. NBC wanted this dude. Yeah. Right. And Steve, what's his face? I can't remember his last name, but the producer who produced the comeback special was just like, we're gonna do things that you've never done before. Yeah. And we're gonna do things that you are all too familiar with. So they put on this whole show it was just supposed to be a Christmas show. And then I believe it was Steve that coined the term, the comeback special. He's like, just put a Christmas song in like the middle of your sit down set, and then we'll call it a Christmas special. But it's just going to be all your famous songs.
I have that on VHS, like as the 68 comeback special.
It was such an interesting time.
But I didn't know that Elvis had left the building was part of I thought it was when he died. I thought that's where it got coined after. Like,
unfortunately, it was a bad foreshadowing.
Because I mean, obviously, I didn't, wasn't around then or at his concerts. So that's kind of interesting. And then they would say that all the time, right? And just go home, kids.
That's it. Elvis has left the building. You can't stay here. It was a lot there's a lot more long-winded than that. I remember seeing like a biopic, and there's been like a bajillion biopics on Elvis, and a lot of them, like, they'll get some things right, and then some things are either over dramatized or under dramatized. I found that the most accurate, and I wasn't around, all right, but based on interviews and people that were in his life that spoke about him, the most accurate, I think, was the Elvis miniseries that came out in either 03 or 05, and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers played Elvis. It was terrible lip singing. Okay. But the
storyline.
The storyline was very accurate. Like, I'm okay with the Kurt Russell one that came out in '79, which was a couple years after he died. But there was something like Elvis was like a bit of a badass, but he was like a troubled badass. Yeah. Like, he was one of those dudes that he battled. He had inner demons that we never saw until like not even like a couple years later, like what happened with JFK, what happened with Marilyn Monroe. The demons like always come to the surface. This stuff was like held secret for decades.
They hit him.
Decades, man. Like,
which didn't help at all either, because I mean, from what I know, he was just locked up in Graceland and whatever you want, man. And like the whole, what is it, peanut butter and banana fried sandwich?
Listen,
like,
you haven't lived until you've had a fried peanut butter and banana sandwich.
I definitely had one for when I was a bunch of years ago on purpose, because it's like, I gotta try this, man. If Elvis had it, but
I had one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But I think I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like that's just kind of like that story came out, but it's just like, whatever makes him happy and doesn't make him kill himself, or keep him smiling, whatever he wants. Okay, here's drugs. Here's a stupid peanut butter fried sandwich, right?
It's exactly what can we do to keep the king go? Like, he'd be on for like 4 days, and we're talking about a dude that like didn't do like coke or like anything like that. It was like uppers and downers. Like, he had a doctor that was prescribing him this stuff. That was like, he was on a payroll from the colonel. It's like, keep this guy awake and keep this guy going, like the Energizer Bunny. So like, what would happen was, and there was a lot of not foreshadowing, but there's a lot of parallels with what I went through and then what he went through, because like his management was just like, you know, like always push. Like Elvis did things like he'd be at like the International. He had a contract at the International from like late '69 into, and they did Elvis. That's the way it is. The the rockumentary, whatever it is, and so he would be doing a show at the International. The Colonel would be out in the casino gambling that money,
and he'd have to play a second show
for free.
Yeah, because he'd get off. All right, let's go home or whatever.
Yeah,
Colonel's like, no, you got another one.
You got another one coming up in 2 hours. Get ready.
Where's my money?
Yeah, and you got to remember 1970 through, I want to say 73. Like, because in 73 he came out with the Aloha from Hawaii special, and he looked great. Yeah. He looked phenomenal. He had like the rhinestone suit, and like he just like bigger than like God, right? Yeah. From 68, the guy trained like a freak. Okay, so like when he was getting ready for a big show or a big appearance or a movie or something like that, he'd get into like his karate thing. He'd work out like a fiend. He'd go be outside. He'd tan. He looked great, right? Yeah. Up until 73. And then 73 onward, he kind of that's when he started letting himself go, and that's when things started catching up with him. And he had his divorce from Priscilla in 73, and it was a whole thing. It was just, everything went downhill after 73. Yeah. Okay. His voice, oddly enough, got better. Yeah. Like he started hitting like high C's like they were nothing.
It was fuller though.
He was a lot more full. You're right. Exactly. That does. If you're listening out there and you're vocalists, okay.
Don't worry.
When you lose weight or gain weight, so does your voice. Yeah. Okay? Remember that. There's tissue that surrounds your vocal tissue that will expand or compress based on your size. Okay? I've gotten bigger since COVID. It happens. Okay? I've got COVID weight.
We all got COVID.
My voice now versus a year ago, because a year ago, so backtrack, I was 255 pounds. Not this past January, the January before. Okay, I was a big boy. I'm not tall. I got short Italian syndrome. But I lost 67 pounds in 4 months.
Yes.
Okay, I dropped a lot of weight really, really quickly. And I was like, I'm going to milk this for as long as I can because I know it's coming back with a vengeance. And then COVID hit. I'm not at 255. I'll never get back to that. No. But I've got my COVID weight, right? But going back, my voice changes when I lose weight.
3 different voices.
It's completely different voices, right? And so Elvis's voice got fuller, and he had more control over his voice in those later years. It's just very unfortunate that we never got to experience Elvis in his mid to late 40s to see what textures would come out.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's all, I don't know. I can talk about this stuff for hours. Hours. I'm looking at the clock. It's 22 minutes, and I'm just like, I've gone on about Elvis for maybe 15 of them.
So why don't we take a break,
sure.
And we'll come back with our guest, today's guest, and you're gonna have to wait to see who it is. So 15 to 30 seconds, and you'll find out.
The suspense is killing me.
Hi, welcome to the Buzz 505 studio. We have a new idea for you to try. We're really encouraging you to listen to our podcast along with a glass of wine. We are featuring this month the Laurent Michel Merlot and the Laurent Michel Unoaked Chardonnay. Both wines can be found at the LCBO for $12.95 a bottle. These wines are really versatile with all kinds of foods, or you can just sip and enjoy them while you're listening to a podcast. The Unoaked Chardonnay is a personal favorite of mine. I like it because it's all about the fruit. When you have an unoaked style of Chardonnay, that means that the wine has never actually touched any oak barrel. So we've got just fruit here with apple, citrus. It's a really nice, crisp and refreshing style of white wine. And then for our red lovers, we have the Laurent Michel Merlot, also at $12.95 a bottle at the LCBO. And this wine is full of blueberry, plum, a little bit of spice as well. It's an elegant and smooth style of red wine. Certainly bring it out for dinner, but it sips nicely on its own as well. So the next time you're listening to a podcast from Buzz 505, we encourage you to pour yourself a glass. Cheers.
And we're back from break, and we have my dear friend, and is going to be eventually Daniel's dear friend.
We're already friends. Don't
Steve
even.
Pelletier.
We're all friends here.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan as of right now, and I look forward to being your friend. How you doing, Steve? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, our
Good.
pleasure.
Any fucking time. See, we're allowed to swear on this podcast.
Love podcasts for that.
Excellent.
So why?
Yeah.
Slow down. So why I decided to bring Steve out. Steve is a Hamilton bass player,
Nice.
but worldwide. Let's not just put him in. He just happens to pay his taxes in Hamilton. But he's doing this great series, The Basement Sessions.
Yes.
So we want to hear all about this. Why did you start this? And we want to thank you for starting this, because this has been great for me. I mean, I think I definitely have watched every one. I've learned some new musicians. So let's talk about why'd you start it?
Well, first, thanks for the compliments. That's awesome to hear, and it's reassuring, because I mean, one of the things that I've been working on while doing the basement sessions is stuff that I'm not used to doing. Right. So, I mean, like I think just about every musician has some sort of studio in their basement of some sort. Somebody's done tracks for somebody and, emailed it off. And that's really the extent of my knowledge of engineering and running a Pro Tools studio and blah, 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 and all that fun stuff. So for me, this is great, because it's a fun chance to sort of expand on that, find another craft, just like everybody else has been doing. Mm-hmm. The real reason was I just hated not playing.
Yeah.
And, and I kind of thought of it as a way of, reconnecting with, people that I have been playing with on a regular basis, people that I haven't played with in a really long time that happen to be in my neighborhood, like the very first guy that I had on, and he was kind of, he was the guinea pig for the whole project. Was a great Hamilton guitar player named Jamie Oakes.
Yep.
And it was so, it was just, that being the first one, we, everybody showed up, we had a couple of beers, we hung out outside, we came downstairs, everything was set up, and it was like, we played, and it was great. And at the end of it, it was just, you just had this feeling of, like a weight being lifted off your chest.
Oh,
so it
yeah.
was,
Yes.
because you got to play, right? I mean, Manny, I'm sure, like things have opened up a little bit. I'm sure you've done a couple of things here and there, and that feeling, right?
Yeah.
Where you get to get back to it again. So, it turned out like just as sort of a passion project. Like, let's just, let's have a couple of buds over and do that. And then it sort of grew from there. And it's, and we've, kind of we've been trying to keep in mind the fact that, yes, we are in a pandemic. So, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing now was filmed, a couple of months ago when things were a little lighter. So you see people without masks.
Yeah.
And shit like that. But now, we're doing the COVID caution thing. But, still getting to play.
Yeah. And that's the main thing. What did you have to buy gear to get this going? Did you have to, or did you borrow? Did you?
Well, I borrowed some stuff.
Okay.
As we do.
A lot of the stuff I already had.
Okay.
Because I'm as most musicians, I'm a gear hound, and I hate selling stuff. So I've just sort of I've always had some sort of project studio of some sort. So I've always, had some things anyways. So I have always worked with Long and McQuaid.
Right.
And interesting, when COVID hit, my part-time gig turned to full-time, and I've been working full-time pretty much the whole time through all this. So, it was interesting when he asked me about, sponsors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I kind of do have a sponsorship through a division called YSL Pro, which distributes, Aventone and, Royer microphones, which is why I'm shamelessly using this thing right here.
Yeah.
Do it. Please.
And so they've loaned me some stuff to try out, and it is sort of a sales tool too. I mean, it helps me learn the gear a little bit so I can, help customers a little bit better.
Well,
Right?
that's exactly the thing, man. Like, you're on there, and if I walk into your store and I'm like, hey, what's the best mic for recording?
That's the guy from the basement.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Right?
That's not. I'm not expecting that to happen ever.
No, but like, but
Oh, it's going to. It's such a great series, man. It is such a great series.
now,
Awesome. Yeah.
did you, you've been playing bass and producing everything and mixing
Yep.
it and engineering, but was it just for Mike Ferfolio you didn't play bass for? Is that the only time you didn't play bass, or was there another, I can't remember.
Well, there.
Was that the only time you put that
No,
on the bass?
but there's a local artist named Jamie Shea. It was and it's a trio. His band.
Yes, that and that bass. Yes.
Yeah. So that one I didn't play bass on,
Was
and
that
it was
an
just
original
because.
song? If I remember.
Yeah, that's all
okay.
original stuff.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
and there's more of that guy coming.
Nice.
It's just a matter of just finishing the mixes and stuff like that. But they're and fun story with that. So the guy playing pedal steel in that one, Gabriel Eddles is his name. He's my next door neighbor.
Really?
Oh, amazing.
So these guys have been, in the good weather, they've been playing in my neighbor's backyard. So I come home from work and I hear these guys playing outside, and it's just
Love
awesome.
that.
It's like
Hopefully, you call the cops on them. I hate loud music.
I actually almost call the cops on a live band that was playing at a church down the street at like 9:00 in the morning on a Sunday.
Well, that's not Christian. That's not Christian.
Well, it is Christian, but well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to stop now.
Drink your drink.
9:00 in the morning is an ungodly hour.
Yes, absolutely.
Steve, I wanted to ask. There was that pocket of time before, the basement sessions, and you're used to playing in front of large crowds and like
3, 4, 5 people.
yeah, like 12.
Yeah,
But
like at least a half dozen people in the front row paying attention. I'm totally used to it.
But coming from that work, like how long was that pocket of time before you realized, okay, I got to do this, or was that an immediate thing for you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird because it's funny. I'm probably not really as busy as people think I am. Social media does wonders for somebody's calendar,
Wonderful.
supposed
Beautiful.
calendar.
Sure.
So, I mean, the beginning of the year was actually a pretty slow beginning of the year for me anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of, sort of settling into, just doing some local stuff and, and trying to reconnect with some folks doing that and just, the local jobbing gigs, the odd session here and there, blah, blah, blah. And, and then COVID hit. And then, it's just sort of picking up steam a little bit. And then it was and it was funny. I was in a session for a guy. First time I'd been called to do a session in forever, and the first session of the year, and it was the day that the government of Ontario shut everything down.
Oh.
Shit. Shit.
So here I am in this recording studio, and I'm there with a good friend of mine, drummer Chris Sutherland, and we're just howling because it's like couldn't feel any more like the musicians on the Titanic right now. It's just like, okay, this sucks.
I actually watched the Titanic 4 days ago so I could understand that damn joke.
I just watched it for the first time during COVID.
Yeah,
but
I've never
did I
seen
just
it
make
before.
like an old man analogy or something? Like, did I just date myself? Shit.
No, because like
I just keep hearing that. And
I
it was on TV, right?
No, I actually bought it. Like I watched it. Manny, I committed. Okay, because what happened was I kept getting like everybody was doing quotes for like draw me like one of your French girls. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Like, what is it? All I knew was the scene.
Yeah, and the song, the god awful song.
It's in that movie a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah,
Fuck. We could do that.
I got a funny story since I heard.
Holy shit! I promise not to reference boats ever again.
Yeah, he's just set up PTSD for Manny.
Wow. Somebody
The trigger word is boats or ocean or Leonardo DiCaprio. Don't get him started.
I do love Leo. He's a good actor.
I have a
Oh.
I have a funny mutual story about Mike Ferfolia.
Okay, can we share this? Is
Yes.
this something I should do, or-
So Manny and I actually are in a band called 41 Soul, and we used to
Okay.
play at this place called Lake Effect in Port Credit a lot.
Yeah,
We had
I know exactly where it is.
Oh, yeah. Steve's played there.
Yeah, and we had this.
They're a pilot time.
We had this cool like monthly residency there, and in the summer they'd set up the gazebo in the parking lot, and basically it was a big party. It was awesome. It was such a good time.
Big party.
And
Fucking ghetto.
Suga was playing the same night we were, and what they wanted to do was a jukebox kind of deal, and it was actually kind of brilliant, where Suga would start the show, and we had kind of the same repertoire. So, like the top 40 funk and like soul, R&B, that kind of thing, right? And basic wedding set kind of thing. And
Wedding with a bass solo.
so Vito Rezzo was playing drums, and it was a good time. It was awesome. And Mike, I think, had either just got it or was really milking the fact that he had a wireless setup. And
Hang on, was Vito Rezza was playing with Suga?
Drums?
yeah, he was playing
Vito?
drums. Yeah, he was filling in.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, he was playing.
Okay.
He was playing drums for them. It was the fun. It was wicked, and Joash was on it, and he was just like fangirling out that Vito was playing drums.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so there was two gazebos side by side. So Suga had their gear set up on theirs, and we had our gear set up on ours. And Mike had his in-ear wireless. He had his wireless microphone, and there was a random bicycle in the crowd. It belonged to somebody. It was like this teal blue with a white basket in the front. And I was on stage setting up because what was going to happen was Suga was going to play their last song and fade into us playing the same song, and then our set would start. Yeah. So it was going to be like and it was just hours and hours and hours of nonstop live music, which was so much fun. So we finished our set, and we're fading into Suga playing their second set because it was still daylight out. And Mike is nowhere to be seen. And he's fronting it, obviously. And then you just see from the back, he's riding this bicycle and riding through the crowd and singing, at the time, like Maroon 5 was huge at the time. They had just come out with one of their bigger albums. I think the one with Moves Like Jagger was on it. And he does the best Adam Levine. It's hysterical listening to him do it because he does it better than Adam now.
Yeah.
And he's just riding through the crowd and just
this wire.
slowly, like something out of, you'd think it was slow motion, and he's doing that goofy smile of just like, hey,
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the coolest shows.
I love Mike Ferfolia because he really is a living, breathing cartoon.
Yeah.
He really, like, he has this amazing ability to just completely be in touch with his inner child at all times. And I have a lot of respect for that because some people can really misinterpret that as fuck this, whatever kind of mentality, which is a drag. But just the fact that he's like, well, fuck, why not? This will get a laugh.
This will get a laugh.
So it's really neat too.
He does that well.
The kind of person he is. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mike was, sorry. So Mike was just here doing a basement session with Josh Bichet, but he did another one on his own, and we had such a freaking good hang. And that stuff will be out in a few weeks, but it was just such a good hang with the guy. I mean, I got nothing but good things to say about him. But yeah, he's nuts. He's a cartoon.
I have a huge respect for him after that specific show, because we played with Sugar a couple of times, and I think that because I deal with a lot of show bands, like a lot of like the corporate gala wedding, like a lot of show bands, and there's always this like there's a competitive nature out there, obviously, but there's this thing about like, you know, if you're a guest appearing or you're a hired gun or something like that, there's the my shit don't stink attitude that a lot of these bands have, like I'm the best in Toronto or whatever the case may be. And I've dealt with,
I mean, Mike's got that too, but I mean, he doesn't own it.
No, he was so modest and so nice to talk to, and like just he was a great hang and made us all feel comfortable, like it was gonna go smooth no matter what, and like it's like it was awesome, because 4-1 Soul just became 4-1 Soul. Okay. We just come from like being a jazz band playing in like little clubs and doing stuff like that into like, okay, let's try this show band thing and see what happens. and we just changed the name, and we were just figuring it out. We were just getting these kinds of gigs, and to play with a band like Sugar, and it was like very intimidating kind of thing, because these guys are so polished.
But they're so nice. Everybody,
so nice.
All their subs, anybody's like kind of in that band has always been
like that. The whole camp. I mean, it's just a bunch of wonderful people, which is
too bad they're not that band anymore. But they're still like
they're still killing it. They're still killing
different sessions. Yeah. So what's next? What's coming up on the basement sessions? Are you moving up a floor, or are you just what's going on?
Moving to the kitchen.
It's actually, we were talking about that last night. Yeah. I was thinking maybe the dining room sessions. I don't know. I gotta be honest, with Christmas coming up, I gotta sort of lighten the schedule up a little bit. I've got a bunch of things getting recorded this month. Probably the most exciting thing is I'm going to release one with me playing drums. Which is something I've never been public about. I feel like I've just come out of the closet.
Didn't you get really drunk one night and play some drums and everything in the beginning of COVID? I saw
that video.
Yeah, I was really drunk then too, so I don't know if I saw this.
Oh
correctly.
You were
just drinking
you multi-tracked the shit out of yourself. It was awesome.
Yes. There was 8 of me, and I felt like the end of it.
It was dope. I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, man, at the beginning of COVID, I mean, I was doing pretty much whatever I could just to occupy some time, because like I wasn't working yet, and it was, I got a bunch of shit done around the house, and I did a couple of tracks for Colin James has got a record coming up, so I did a couple of tracks for him from home, and it turned out I did a couple of other online session for folks and stuff like that, and I came across whatever the hell that app was.
Acapella? Was it acapella?
Okay, well this is fun. Acapella, yeah. So, and then I sort of got onto it, and like absolutely everybody else was doing it, and I ran out of ideas to do a second one. So,
well, Steve, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm kind of fangirling a little bit, because I'm a huge fan of you. I'm also a diehard fan of Colin James. And
oh, come on!
I am.
Thanks, man.
I've been a fan since I was a kid. My dad introduced me to his music, and knowing that we were going to be talking to you today, I texted my dad and my mom and told them guess who I'm interviewing, and they were freaking out too. There's just something really special about having Canadian artists and Canadian talent who give off that kind of feeling and give off that kind of nostalgia. And the stuff that you guys do is nothing short of incredible, and I'm very humbled to be talking to you right now. That's awesome, man.
Thank you. I put on my pants the same way everybody else does. Like my best man gold record.
Yeah, I love that. Titanic, right?
Awesome. Thanks, man. I mean, Colin, it's such a huge thrill playing with that guy, and it's funny. I mean, for me personally, I mean, it's a complete dream come true too, because it's when his album Bad Habits came out, I probably I wore that record out.
Yeah.
You know, I wore out 2 CD copies of that freaking record. I mean, and at the time, you know, I was playing in blues bands. I was listening to a ton of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and you know, Tommy Shannon was a huge influence of mine.
Yeah.
So I have always kind of learned to play like that. And, you know, and even, you know, I was fortunate enough to do two full records with Colin. The last 2 records that came out, Miles to Go and Blue Highways from a few years ago. The whole time I was thinking, like, what would Tommy Shannon play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been a huge thrill, man. I mean, Colin is, he's an icon. You know, he's Canadian history. He's right up there. I mean, he's had a really wicked long career.
And there's no
keeps
stopping
spitting records. You know, he hasn't changed. You know, I mean, his voice keeps getting better.
Oh, the texture in his voice now. Oh my God.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's so good. And, you know, I still have times. And it's funny, I probably shouldn't be telling this, but I have a whole collection of little shots that I take whenever there's a long guitar intro. I usually have my phone on my amp. And I'm just like, I don't even aim. I just sort of tilt the phone, take a picture, and then put it back down. And but I've gotten some really cool shots of you know, Colin on stage. And I still get chills every now and again, man. Like when he pops something out that I haven't heard him play before, or you know, I mean, like some of the hits. I mean, that comes out and it's like, you know, every time we play Just Came Back, it's like, okay, yeah, this is fun.
Yes. I just got goosebumps
You know,
hearing you say it. Like,
and the other thing too, and this, you know, this goes back to you know, how much you guys love hanging around and playing with Suga, because it was such a good network of guys. The guys in the band that I play with too, I mean, they're all really, really close friends. I mean, I got the gig because I was close friends with, and you know, playing a bunch with Chris Goodell, you know, in and around Toronto. And you know, at the time when I started working with Colin, I was working as a sub for about 3 years, and that was mostly at the recommendation of Al Webster, who was Colin's drummer at the time.
Right.
And you know, I was playing with Al on the Jeff Healey Thursday night gigs.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, I got to do some super cool gigs with Al there, and you know, knew Chris really well. So Chris had just gotten the gig, and they were shopping around for bass players. Blah blah blah. My name came up. They picked another guy, Maury LaFoy, who was with him for about 2 or 3 years, and then Maury decided to move on to other stuff. And then I got the call, and here we are.
Yeah.
Not doing a damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, like I said, man, like this is amazing. I'm so happy to be, you know, picking your brain about all this stuff that you're doing. You're definitely an icon yourself, my friend.
Dude, thank you so much. That's huge. And I don't take compliments well, but thank you.
The Canadian acceptance. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you heard my neighbors play?
Don't get mad, okay? Sorry.
My neighbors are great, but well, we should probably end it here.
No, that's a sweet spot to end it.
But a big thank you, Steve, for joining us.
Yes.
Thebasementsessions.com. How do I find you? What do we do? How do we find us? What do we do?
I should, if I had my shit together, I would know all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So the Basement Sessions on Instagram, it is at _basement_sessions_. I think I use the same thing on YouTube, but anyways, if you find it on Instagram, it'll lead you to YouTube. The one thing I haven't mentioned so far is, not to keep pushing it and slamming it on everybody, and I know everybody's really capped for a lot of stuff right now, but all the musicians that come and do the Basement Sessions is at their own free will. Nobody's getting paid.
Amazing.
But what I have done is every artist that I've had in, there is a donation button under a PayPal Me account. So people can donate to the sessions that they want to donate to.
I saw that on YouTube, right? So you're right underneath.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, so far I've gotten $20. I understand. I know people are strapped because, not a lot of people are working. There's not a lot, but any little bit helps. And it just goes straight to the musicians that are on that session. That's the way we've sort of, hit it up for that. So, but, yeah, I don't know. What the hell was I saying?
Give me money.
I just lost one. Oh yeah, and the other thing too is it is live off the floor. There's no overdubs. I'm not fixing mistakes. There's the odd little thing that I'll do, but as far as vocal performances, that is that person singing, and that's all of us in the same room, just banging it out like we would in a club.
Yeah,
Amazing. I love that.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends to tell your friend.
yes.
And then
Check it out, guys.
Check it out. They are great. Very great.
And then tell your rich friends about the donation button.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks again. And how we're gonna
Thanks so much for having me.
yeah, we're gonna end this episode with something even specialer.
No, it's
Yes.
not.
We're gonna end this episode with our very own Daniel's song. Daniel wrote a song.
I wrote song.
And we're gonna end. So why don't you tell me and Steve and the people listening about a quick rundown?
Yeah, so seeing as how it takes me a year to write a single,
Okay.
I wrote a new single called Wish It Was You. It is a retro soul single based on everything that I can throw at it. It's groove, it's 70s, it's fun. It is a typical breakup song that you'd hear in the 70s, but it's not about a girl at all. I was thinking about leaving music a few years back, and it's my relationship breakup song with music. It was going to be my last thing, but here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we
Still
are.
doing it through COVID. We're not supposed to.
Bring it on.
So, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed Dan's song. All right. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
I think we need some time for us to clear our minds. And if all roads lead to you, and you're the one that I belong to. Hey, we can lie about our love, but when is it ever enough? I wish it was you. I really do wish it was you. After what we've been through, I really do wish it was you. Does this make sense to you? 'Cause you have a say in this too. Am I acting like a fool? Or is it something that we both knew?